The following video was pre-recorded on twitch.tv/codedman9000. More information on the stream times at the end of the video. Death. Something the citizens of Shady Acres knows too well. Due to an unknown disease rapidly progressed by the city's expansion rate, and left with nothing else to do, the citizens take to the streets. They rush to the transportation center to take buses to the Chirp X Space Center. Large lines queue for the citizens' chance to escape the planet. The Chirp X Space Center, the last hope, is a place housing the space rocketing program. The city's survival, or even the planet's survival, relies on the Chirp X's Kerbal Space Program to teach us how to fly across the stars. With the help of SpaceX Kerbal Space Program, we will first learn how to fly a rocket. Next, we will learn how to fly in lower planet orbit before continuing to full planet orbit. After learning orbit travel, we only have one more thing to do: space travel. Hello and welcome to a Twitch Plays Along series called Stone to Space. Today we're in Chapter 3, Space Travel. Today we are playing Kerbal Space Program. So, in the last stream that we did on Kerbin, or KSP, which was this past Wednesday, we fully completed our space station. We also figured out how to name this, and for some reason it's not named correctly. It's still the name of the plane, which should not be correct. I need to figure out what configure vessel name. Yeah, we don't want this to be a station. We wanted this to be a station. If I control from here, that doesn't change anything. We do have this properly named. The Babylon 3.5, courtesy of Regas. But for some reason the plane is set as a station instead of a plane. If I apply that back to being a plane, does that change this? It does not. Okay. So that should work better. What I did realize today, as I was loading this, is if we take this plane to Mun and we land, we have no way of doing science. There's nothing science related on this plane. It is purely storage for electrical. If we look down here, this is a crew cabin. This is just to house extra people on the plane. But we only have monopropellant, which we're actually emptied out of, and fuel. That's all this plane has. It doesn't have anything science related. All of our science stuff is on this wing here. And in the end of our last stream, we sped up time 5 years long to complete as much science out of this as we could. We got down to our data rate, or right here, our rate here being so small. I don't even know what fraction. I think that's a millionth of a science per day. Tenth, hundredth, thousandths. That might be 10,000s. I forget decimal points, their names after thousands. But our data, we have 0.003 total data. So we're not going to be worrying about that any longer. This station is pretty much to do science while orbiting. It has nothing to do with science within it. And it looks like I'm having issues with my internet. I just noticed that the stream overlay was buffering. How are we doing? Do I need to go check my internet? Or do you guys think we're okay? Because I don't want to get into the game and start playing it and then we crash. If I can fix it now. You said it was just on your end? Okay. So my computer is plugged in. I'm not going off of Wi-Fi, but I should probably go and check my router and reset it. So give me a few seconds and the beer back scene. We're going to lose connection for a moment and then come back. I'm losing internet again already. So give me just a few seconds and I'll fix this. Alright, we're gonna see how this works for now. All I've done so far was just unplug the cord from the computer and plug it back in. And I am seeing my upload speed fluctuating, but it's now staying above 7,000 kilobytes per second. Sometimes going to 5,800. So if we disconnect again, please tell me so that I can see it in chat, because my overlay is lagging along with the upload. So I am having stream delay to myself. And we're going to continue for a little bit since this looks like it's stable now. Actually, if I reload this, it might update to being stable. Nope, it still stays unstable. We're going to try it anyway. My upload time still says that we've been streaming for 27 minutes, so we haven't actually disconnected completely. Let's hope this works. So, what I am thinking of doing, because we need to go to Mun and finish off the science that's there, is make another lander. Not make it, but launch another lander to Mun and drive around, try and get some science. So if we look at the research and then the archives, we click on Kerbin, then Mun, we should be able to see all the different biomes we have been in. It looks like Farside Crater has a total of 8 different reports that are completed. So some of this is orbiting. If I do surface landed, this is all the biome signs from that. And then everything else was an EVA from above Mun. So we really only landed on one biome on Mun. Oh, that's right, because the gravity was so different compared to what we were expecting. Trying to open something off screen. If I close this, since my headphones weren't working, I forgot to charge them. Now I have our stream notes off to the side, and I just want to go all the way down to Mun. And I do have a list of all the biomes. There are a ton of biomes. I should have the biome image open on another screen as well. Give me just a few seconds to open this. Go home. Kerbin. Roll down. We will see Mun at some point. No, we won't. I clicked on the wrong tab, apparently. Maps, biomes. No, that's definitely a list of biomes. How come I'm not seeing Mun? Okay, here's Mun. And if we go down to biomes here, this is not the same page I used to be on. But this here is a colorful image, so we'll use this as our biome map. I'm going to minimize this a little bit because it's a little too big here. Put that over top of Firebot. Have fun lurking, Gino. I do just now see your message. Okay, so what one have we done already? We have done Farside Crater, which is this pink one in the middle. It has a canyon, it seems. So we pretty much just landed on the largest crater and then found out we couldn't move. So we are going to go out here, and I think we are going to create a lander that's bigger. So if I take this Mark III command pod, and we are going to need monopropellant, this nice big one, we're going to need a large amount of fuel. So I'm going to grab the, nope, that's not the right size, this size. This is the second size, so this one is the smaller one. I wanted twice as much fuel as monopropellant. And I think we're going to need some form of controlment. I'm going to put 4-way symmetry here. We're going to need RCS. There is RCS on this command pod, but it's only 2 axes instead of 3. This does left and right, so X and Y, but it does not have the Z axis on here. So what we're going to do is go to control. We are still going to add RCS onto the top here. I'm going to place it above those and put these down here. This is probably not how it's going to look at the end, but I'm just putting things on quickly. Do I want that one or do I want a larger one? Not the swivel. Let's Terrier on for right now. I should be looking at this on Kerbin, or on the Mun, which only shows in vacuum. That does not help me. I wanted to know the delta V on Mun instead, so I can tell if I can take off or not. Alright, we'll just leave it like that then. We do not need to get out to do an EVA or a surface sample, so we're not going to do that. We are going to put on these landing struts, and looking at the way that they are applied right now, we are going to place them next to the wings right here. And then start retracted. We are going to need a heat shield at one point, so we should get that ready. Take all of this off. Heat, probably gonna need this one. Nope, we need a size smaller, I think. We need that. We're gonna need a decoupler. Not the number 12. It is this one. Put this back on. We have staging here. Let's put engine on the bottom. And we're going to need a parachute on the top, which would be in utility. And it should be this blue one. And then they're staged together. I want this because we're going to be coming back to Kerbin. Be like this, and minimum pressure, we'll push it all the way up. And lastly, I want some lights, not that one though, I want this one. Put that here, but these are gonna have to be angled inwards. Like that. So that it's hopefully pointing to where we're gonna land. Alright, this should be the bare bones lander. What we could also do is make a way to drive this as far in a way. Because maybe having a Land Rover on the planet would be better. So I am going to save this as something. Just call it Mun Lander for now. Save that. Because we want to go through this and delete some of these because we have a little too many. So I want to get rid of anything that is not the final stage of what it is. So these being Mark 1, Mark 2, Mark 3, delete all them. We have the Mun Lander, that's what we're looking at right now. We have the Mun Rescuer. And we have Mun Mark 1, Mark 2. Not sure what those are. We are going to use ComSat Hub Mark 2 again at some point in the future. We don't need Force Science Lander Mark 2. We could keep it for now. And the rest, I think we're fine with keeping for right now. We don't need these though. Alright, so since that is what this is going to be called, I want to take a look at this. These are rockets that I had saved from my test world, which also should be saved somewhere else. I'm trying to look for my actual Land Rover that I saved somewhere. These are a bunch of planes. More planes. We should have Land Rover somewhere. Is it machine test? There we are. So, these require locked parts. Will it tell me what part? Sensor gravimeter. Let's go see what science the gravimeter is on. Rather than making our own lander, we could use the pre-made stuff. I'm gonna assume it's on one of these. I think it said gravimeter, right? What was this thing called, actually? I don't remember. Machine tests. SP, no, machine test, there we go. Missing part, sensor gravimeter. Or we could just go without that meter. So if we look at this, this is a probe rover. It has... Oh, it only does 3 signs. It does the pressure, which I didn't mean to move. I can't right click on it. Oh, this is temperature, this is pressure. It has a little bit of lights, a little bit of antenna, and that's pretty much the entire body of this. There's nothing else going on with it. It does make its own electricity. If we take a look at this one, what are you missing? Truss piece 3x. Let's see where that would have been. I do not see what's missing. But this should be able to do all of the signs. I think right here is monopropellant. Yes. Then we have batteries. I don't know what this is. Apparently considered the girder. Oh, that's the ladder. Okay, so this should be a lander crab. And this is a dockable portion. Communitron. I don't see science on this either. That's a fuel tank, okay. There's probably also another fuel tank, and then the crew cabin. So is this just a movable station? That's a reaction wheel. But this doesn't have any science connected to it. There is a horsey in chat. It's another Gen 1 Pokemon if anyone is collecting. Looks like I have it. I did think I had it. Alright, so let's look at the third and final rover that's over here. Orbital scanner, that's fine. This also does not have science on it. Fuel cell, okay. This is probably Communitron, yep. This is probably electrical stuff. Narrow band scanner, that is a mapping thing. So we actually don't have a rover capable of doing science. That is a structural panel. Okay. What is this here? I-beam. Pocket edition. These are things that we can sit in to drive this. Alright, we're gonna have to make our own, I guess. What I want to do is... I think I want to just update this to having signs on it. And then we control this and move it around. Because this is a dock. Then over here on the other fuel source is another dock. So we could connect multiple pieces onto this. So this would be like the housing for everyone. And then we can make another one of these connect to it that has all the science. And then we just drive both of them around like a really long train in a way. If I were to do that, I'd want this saved, I think, on here. So if I save Crater Crawler, that should be saved to now this save file. So if I go into current game, we have it here. It still does say the invalid parts. Apparently we don't have a comm dish all of a sudden. But now if we start looking through this, what is this? Docking port juniors. Is this just all the monopropellant and electrical stuff? Looks like it. Alright, I think I want to delete everything here. We're gonna need that docking port. What is this? An RCS thing there, okay. And this is just structural, right? Yep. So if I were to take this off and we grab a Science Junior, we would be able to fit that in the same spot. If I just rotate this the correct way, almost the correct way. There we go. Put that there, that fits in pretty much the same spot. I then want to do I move this stuff around? I think I might leave that stuff there, and then we just add the rest of our science back here. So we're not actually going to delete half of this, it seems. Although we could put all the science up here. I think we're going to do that. So if I just do this, and the last piece, we're going to have a lander, so I might as well put all the science on here. So action group, no, we're going to figure out how to take all this off. What is this? A ladder to get down, because apparently this is too high for a Kerbin, I guess. We are probably not going to need anything back here, but we do probably need the monopropellant containers. I'm gonna move them to right here. These batteries we should probably keep, so I'm gonna place them on the sides. If it did get rid of 2, okay. If it allows me to rotate it like this, we will add a second one since that's what it's deleting. Just put that there. It has back lights, so we could put a light in the back. Let's move this forward. If I just go like that, that should be good enough. And we can add this light to the front of this. Why it spun it around, I don't know. And then we have monopropellant there. Should be fine with getting rid of some of these. We should be able to get rid of all of this, which looks like just solar panels and the extra light. Get rid of that, get rid of this. We're not getting a new docking port on the back. We probably should keep a ladder, so I'm going to just temporarily put that right there. And we're going to need the RCS probably, so put that also right there. We're probably not going to need any of this, although this is extra fuel. So I am going to move this stuff off of the fuel. And what we could do is, since these are the same size of fuel, we could just double this one up. Hi there, Hydrate Man, how are you doing? I'm doing good, Glow. How are you? Officially a Kerbal Space Pro now. I have the screenshot to prove it. I don't know what you mean. If we were to change this fuel out for being double size so that we don't have to use 2 of these, it would probably delete stuff connected to it if I try to take it off. That's pretty much where everything is connected to, is the fuel cell there. So instead, we are just going to move some of this stuff. So if I put this light on the Science Junior, we're going to rotate it eventually in a minute. I'm going to take the Science Junior off, move this fuel back there. And it should connect to that if I rotate it the correct way. That there. Grab the Junior, put it back on. And now I don't think there's anything else we need. What are these? More RCS stuff. Oh, and that holds the platform that's right here. Okay, well, we don't really need that platform. I'm just gonna get rid of all that. Rotate tool, we're gonna move this to being like that. And then I think this would be good enough to use connected into the other one. So we are going to move a few things around because I haven't set that up yet. We're going to move this. And it was right here. But where would I put the ladder if I put these here? Because I want to put the ladder somewhere where they can climb up here to this ladder and get all the way up. Can I double a ladder on top of another ladder? Probably. If I place it here, but we have to rotate it. Not that way. Not that way. This way. Yep. Which way does this open? Opens the wrong way. So I want to rotate it like this. Not like that. And I want to place it on top of this ladder if I can. So I'm going to place it right here for now. It looks like it would mess with the RCS. It definitely would. We could probably take off one of the wheels on the side and allow them to climb up on the sides. And I have no idea what this is for. No, it's a reaction wheel to help us turn. We could put the ladder on the Science Junior next to the light. The light probably won't mess us up too much, especially if I move it over a little bit. And this should extend far enough down that we can grab onto it and then jump over to this ladder. And this was not on two-way symmetry. I see why it wasn't. There we go. Is there anything else we're going to need to change on this? We did get rid of some solar panels, but this is a connection point to another part that's going to have even more solar panels. And they both have monopropellant here and right here. So this could be part 2. And we'll save that. We're now going to test out different things. I just wanted to mention that you removed RCS stuff that uses regular fuel. Recommend to check what fuel you need and which one you got. Get rid of this. This is a pre-made thing, so I've kept the same fuel that it came with. I haven't removed any fuel. I just moved them around. I got rid of electrical stuff and supports only. So if we... Apparently this uses a part that we still don't have unlocked. Oh, truss. Another truss piece, okay. If I load this instead, we are going to make sure that we have someone in here. Apparently all of our crew is on the station. I thought we left someone here on Kerbin. You got rid of RCS that uses regular fuel. Alright, I'll check, but I didn't get rid of any fuel. I got rid of RCS, but not fuel. That is R105. That's this one. This is the one that we've been using, so that should be the monopropellant, which I have here. You got rid of... Yeah, I know I got rid of RCS stuff. This stuff right here. That's the only thing I got rid of. Okay. We need to come out here and I think hire another astronaut. Engineer, scientist, engineer, scientist, pilot. We'll hire you as our secondary pilot for testing stuff here. But the RCS you deleted uses regular fuel, if I remember correctly, so I assume that you have regular fuel lying around that is just a necessary weight. That's fair. I don't care. We are going to add them to this because we're going to test this out. So let's... Do I want to launch it here? Oh, it's unable to launch until I get those parts. Alright, well that was useless to do then. I know I didn't have the parts unlocked, and we don't have the science to unlock those parts, so we're gonna have to go back to ground zero and just make our own. Do I have the Land Rover still saved? Those are all planes for science. I have this, which we were considering a Land Rover. We can probably just update this. So what I'm going to do instead of doing it here, I'm going to go into the SPH and upgrade it there. Looks like an ant. It does. This is back when we didn't have a lot of things unlocked. We haven't done Land Rover stuff since then. I pretty much only used it to get the biome science within our launch area. So this was just to speed us up quickly. Might not need that. We are gonna keep the ladder here, but we're not gonna need it. Do I have a better can? What do I have structural wise? Because we could actually use the structural platforms. I'm just looking at different things we haven't used yet. Those go on the ends of here. I have a beam, another beam. Not a lot of structural beams though. So we really only have the beams that I would use instead of these. Have fun, Lurking Glow. How did you know? What do you mean? I leave that there. That is pretty long. That could be used as our main support. Because I'm trying to use a different pod. Just for fun. We could use this pod. The Lander can. Or the Mark II Lander can. Which is bigger and probably holds more people, right? Crew capacity is 2. And this one's just 1. Does this say it takes fuel? Oh, it has monopropellant in it. Okay. So it probably has RCS built into it. I think that's what those blue dots at the bottom were. Alright, let's move all the science stuff onto the Science Junior for now. Because we're not getting rid of that right now. And what I do want to get rid of is all of this. So I'm going to route to the Science Junior. We're going to take all this off. We're going to grab this beam. And I pretty much want to put this beam on the bottom. So if I were to have it centered like it is, and then just rotate it, not that way, but almost. That rotates it, okay. I do want it like this, but I want it facing outwards first. We're going to put this here for now. I want it away from the Science Junior, actually. So let me move this out and put this on first. Because I want the Science Junior placed on this, and then the beam on that. That makes sense. Not sure if this is going to work the way that I'm trying to do it. We might want to just start with our pod and work our way back instead of working with this. All this was the science and a container, and then this is fuel for this booster, and then just batteries and solar panels, which we could probably redo. So this is the Mark II Lander can. If I just rotate it the correct way. I think that's facing the right direction. I am going to not rotate it that way. Face it this way. It has a port down there. Why did it rotate when I picked it up? So I think we might want it like this instead. And I finally got the announcements to work. So right now we have 2 announcements that just went live after being live for 1 hour. And what I found out through Firebot, this is for anyone that uses it, if you have 2 messages that are going to go out within the same time frame, that are considered announcements and not just chat, they have to be spread apart by 4 seconds, or else it won't show up. So the first message for our schedule is at the 1 hour mark, and the second one for our information commands was set as an hour and 4 seconds. When we get to the second hour, things get a little bit weird, because then we have the announcement for the schedule go out at the same time as that 2 hour one, which I think is the YouTube one. So I put off the YouTube one for 8 seconds, I think. And then for our last day of our week announcement, for us playing for 8 streams, which I may not have updated number, that goes live 12 seconds after the second hour mark. And I'm very happy that we got that set up and ready. I need to now flip this over, and we're going to be putting that structural stuff on here. So I want the big panel, and I want it to be flat on here. Why isn't it snapping? Okay, now it is. And then underneath that, or on top of that, I wanted this. Do I want it centered, or do I want like this? I think I want it like this. So if I go way out here, I then want to move them up, because this is meant to be on the bottom, just like that. They are no longer connected though. We're just gonna connect them back on. And then we're gonna flip this back over. And I want to put this on top of the beams. But I want to rotate this way. This is, oh, two-way symmetry. Let's take that off. Now that this isn't two-way, I can't put a thing there. So I'm actually going to flip this over yet again, and we are going to grab this beam and place one in the center. So now there's going to be 3 beams, which we don't really need. But anyway. You have good news, Slicky? What's the good news? I'm happy to see you came back. Geese started building their nest. Awesome. So that means it's hibernation season, or is it mating season for geese? Usually that's earlier in the year. So I don't think it's mating season yet. We don't need multiple beams. I just want this. On here, and then connect it in. Why does it not line up with the other one? That's odd. Okay. We are going to keep the door right where it is. I gave them wood shavings and hay. Nice, that sounds like it would be very comfortable. Okay, that there. We have a door that leads out to this. So what we could do is line what we can with the signs on the actual Lander can. Like this and that. The goo on the right side of the door. So when you're coming out, it's on the right side, I mean. And then all we need to do is find out how to put the Science Junior on here. For this. because we're gonna land this along with the lander, and this will drive around and collect all the science, so we'll come back to the lander and then take that to the space station, which would require the plane not to be on the station. Okay. Maybe for some reason we were surprised as well, as it's supposed to be at January. Huh. That does seem odd. I definitely want something that holds storage, so that we can hold multiple biomes at once and then take it to the lander later. So I'm gonna place this here, not in the center. I do want it right there, but I don't want it inside the building, but we could leave it there for now. What I want to do is add another one of these on the other half. I just grab this and we temporarily just place it down on something that makes it lay the right way. This is upside down. That works. We are also within an ad, so I will see you guys in about 3 minutes. We are back. For some reason, I don't think it said in chat that we took an ad break. Because it also doesn't say that we came back from the ad break either. That would be something to do with Firebot that I can look into later on. But anyway, to catch up on chat, so like he says that he told his girlfriend to contact the seller. Maybe they'll have some insights for us. I hope they do. No, it was right behind me. I do have something to talk to you guys about. For our Be Right Back scene, I have been putting together every clip that we have currently on the channel, and we've gotten to the point where we no longer see every clip during a total of a 3-minute break. So what I'm thinking on doing from here on is making the video after today's stream not always start from the beginning. It'll pick up from wherever we left off, which means that sometimes we may be in the middle of a clip when we end the break, and then next time we start the break, we'll be starting at that specific point in the middle of a clip. So that is going to be implemented at some point. Since we're not streaming tomorrow, I should have a lot of time to mess around with this channel. So that's what we're going to be doing later on. I am getting a lot of notifications for Discord, so I'm going to close this in a second. But first, I want to see what Glow has here. So earlier, Glow had said that I am a Kerbal Space Program Pro. And they sent a picture of the fact that on the right side or left side of your screen, it tells you who's live and what they're playing. And the picture that it showed Glow was my name, and then it just says Kerbal Space Pro instead of Program. That's funny. But the rest of this I am going to close, so we're not getting distracted. Let's get back into here. So what I want to do with this is get rid of this. I don't want that anymore. And now I'm getting all the messages on my watch, so this did not help at all. If I grab this whole thing, I want to get these to line up somehow on this. Which I think the better option would be to just build it all upside down, instead of trying to add more to it. If I just grab this and we link it to that one, if I can. It has the little node thing there, but I can't snap to it apparently. What if I turn on snap to node? Nope, that didn't work. Or did it? Hold on. It works right here. No, it doesn't. It's a little in. I think what I might do is move these around like this. And if I do mirror, put one there. I didn't want to pick that up. I wanted to pick this and put on another one right here. So now they should be centered in the midpoint of what's going to be the middle of our craft here. Did not want to pick that whole thing up. Okay, so I can't do that with this one. I'm going to have to manually move it. Not the whole thing, just the pipe, the beam. It's going to move the whole beam. Okay. Not what I wanted. What I could do is grab this and move this in respect to the beam, and then later move the beam. I'm trying to get these away from the beams on the left side because they were doing that weird phase glitch thing. Anyway, we can now click on this and bring this forward so that the two of these platforms are touching again. And then what I want to do is move these beams out from in the floor. Right there. And then the same with this one. That's a little too high. Can I move this floor down a little tiny bit? Perfect. It's a little low still. I'm actually going to move it up. This is all just aesthetic stuff right now. It's not going to matter too much in a few seconds. If I put that down, this moved the floor again. Bring that up a little bit. That makes the rest of these aligned. I just need to align this one. And then grab that. I grabbed the entire thing. That's not what I wanted. I want snapping. And we're just going to snap it to right there and then move it manually. Right there should be fine. Then move it up towards just coming out. Oh, that was too high. Okay, now if we flip this over after spending too much time on that, and we grab another one of these and place it here, that should give us a big enough platform. If I just grab this middle beam, and this time I am going to turn snapping back on. And which way do I have to flap this down? No. Yes, but if I move out here, I should be able to get it to center correctly. Right there seems fine. So now we can add the Science Junior right here. I actually want it rotated. Not like that. Like this, yes. Actually, is there a way that I could rotate it on here? If I press Alt, and then we rotate it the correct way. This is what I want, but I want it placed... up here. That's how I want it. But it looks like it has to be in the center of the floor, which isn't too bad, but it's also not what I wanted. I want to rotate this so that the doors are facing the front. This creates a bit of a platform for us to walk around on, so we could add ladders to the side of this and also climb down. I'm thinking about fuel and monopropellant here, and also where we're going to add the electrical stuff. What if I move it around manually? Be off to the side, like this. Then we can add fuel. This will be like a walkway. I'm gonna add the ladders. Actually, we don't know how the ladders are going to be placed in, since we don't know where the bottom of this is just yet. So, I only want the regular monopropellant stuff. I don't want anything too extravagant. This is a lot larger than the rest of this stuff. That's a little too small. That is pretty much the same as Science Junior. So maybe instead of doing this, with the Science Junior having been placed upwards, we place it the way that it was trying to go the first time. Which was like this. And you can go there, this can go on that. We should probably add a small amount of fuel. Is this too big? Yes it is. So we want the one right here. But I think we'll go for the bigger one, like in the example. And then I want this whole thing rotated this way. Move it over, move it forward, move it up. Okay, next thing I want just for aesthetic is some connectors. Make sure it can't roll off, if that is a thing that can happen. I'll add one more right here. Should still be able to open this without any issues. I don't think anything goes into the ground because there's two doors up here, there's two doors right here. Okay, next thing we're gonna want, probably wheels. If I flip this back upside down one more time, because now we're going to be working on just the bottom. I think I do want girders for the wheels to connect into. We could connect them into the beams themselves, but I think the girders would be better. I add one right there. What kind of wheels do we have? We have the large ones that we saw in the example one. I'm gonna guess that they have to be rotated in a way. I just can't see which way they have to be rotated. That went inside. That's not what I want. So if I put this on the side of this girder, those weird things. Try this again. If I place that there, we go to wheels, grab this, and just place it on there. Okay, so this is the top. And this would be the bottom. So we want this rotated so that these bolts are on the left side. The way that it's sitting right now. But I also need to move this. I just figure out how this is going to be placed in. I want that like that. I want the bolts now at the bottom. That's not the right way. That is the right way. And that should be on this, which it is. If we just bring this up here. Bring this down. I'm gonna center it on the beam just for aesthetic reasons. That is pretty much what I'm going for. I then want to mirror this, which is not going to work out very well because of the beam. Then I have to move back up again. I'm going to guess that I'm not going to be able to place these wheels back here, because it seems like it's... No, it is getting placed on the platform. Okay. Never mind. Just grab this. I want to add 6 total. I feel like that would look good. And of course, I have to move them up again. It all seems about right, but I'm not sure. So if we rotate this and then pull it down, are there any wheels that hit the ground first? Yes, there are. So what I'm going to do is make it so that the girders are just barely touching platform. That's a little bit. That's a little bit. And then this one needs to come down. Now it should be more or less the same. They look very much similar. Okay, so now this should be able to drive. I ended up putting the wheels right at the spot that I was going to put the ladders. So what I might do instead is move these 2 girders together. They seem a little off. Anyway, and then move the wheels away from each other. Just like that. Now I can put a ladder right there. Or will it even need a ladder? Because we're going to be able to jump that high, I think, due to gravity. Alright, let's figure out how we're going to do the electrical. I also don't remember why I put this fuel on here. I think what we're going to do is build a housing like the other example had, where it had beams going up. And then these beams had beams on top of it. Sorry, the cat was distracting me a little bit. So if I grab these and place them just the way they are for a second, and then we grab another one of these platforms, place that up top. I don't want this symmetrical anymore. Which way do I have to rotate this again? That way. Place that there for now. I'm gonna grab it and move it over. Roughly symmetrical. And bring it back to here. Now we have a platform that we can put electrical stuff on top of. If I make it match the front, could go like this and add another one right here. But then that takes away the ability to walk down here. I move that back there, and then I move this. Oh, this moves the whole entire thing. I move that there. Then it at least looks like we can get into the Science Junior. If I grab this beam and we move it back forward, seems relatively symmetrical. Now I can go back to adding other stuff. So I'm gonna want batteries. This is the second largest. This is the largest battery we have. I make it go flat. We could stack up a few of these. And cell array. I think I want this solar panel. Just need to see how it extends. Not the one that I want. I think that's the one I just grabbed. Maybe I want one of these. No, that's pretty much the same thing. This one? Nope. I'm looking for one that's flat. Nope, that's just bigger and it's still going straight up. Too small. Is it this one? Nope. Is it this one? That's a cell array. I know it's 300 charge. Where are the flat arrays? This is one solar panel. This is 6 or 8. Is that all I have to work with for right now? Everything else is vertical. So that should be the same as this one. Yeah. only one is able to be retracted after it's put out. And I just want one that's flat and facing straight up. So I think what we're going to work with is just a bunch of these. Which I think I want 6 of, so I'm going to move these batteries back more. This over. Actually, we're only going to have 8. No, we'll have 6 still. If I grab this and put another one in the center. Then grab another one, put that in the center, but up here. I now know where this has to be. I guess it's going to do weird things until I place it in. So, two-way symmetry. Move this one, also with two-way symmetry. And then we're going to move them so that they're not phasing in each other. Without snapping would be nice. That goes to about there. This goes to about right there. These two are phasing into each other. Don't know why everything went down. Okay, that's weird. So if I go to move this one, it's going to do the same thing, right? Yeah. Weird. It all has a max height of not where I want it to be. But all I'm trying to do with these side ones now are to rotate them a little bit. So that if the sun is not directly above us, we have a little bit of coverage. Which is why I wanted these solar panels up a little higher. That is fine, that should still work. Do I need this fuel? Or could we just use extra amount of propellant? I think we could just use extra amount of propellant instead. Are we going to need this much? Probably not. Because this is 360 amount of propellant. Actually, we might end up using enough of that to correct ourselves occasionally. I am going to move this over to here now. Do I want it right next to Science Junior? We might as well. And I'm going to move this up. Doesn't mess with the doors at all. Okay. This is going to forever stay on Mun at some point. We still have not put the ladder in, but I think that's because we decided we have enough clearance to get up there. I should probably test this. Just in case we can't get out. Okay, so if I apply the brakes, this is very small. Can I do an EVA? Oh, the EVA is from the top. That's not what I expected. You go back in. Can I click on the correct door and do an EVA from that? You can do control from here, but I don't think that changes anything. 4 point up. 4 point forward. I'm confused. Okay, so this is controlling the way that I expect it to. If I do control point up, that is the way I want to control it, actually. What I don't want is them coming out of the top of the door. What are the doors for? The inventory, maybe? Alright, if I do an EVA... Can we just jump down here for a second? We bump our heads a few times. And then I fall down. Can I get in from right here? Yes, I can. Okay. So that's not too much of an issue because we could just jump off the top and then come down onto Mun. My next thing to do is to see if we can climb back up, which we can. Look at that. Okay, so for the most part, this all is okay. That was a good test. How is the weight laid out on this? It's a little bit to the left, which is kind of expected because we have the fuel on the left side. In terms of where the weight is, it's pretty much centered on the Science Junior. So, where would we put RCS thrusters? I think what I might do is move the wheels all the way to the front and to the back of the beams. Just to help with being able to put RCS in the front and the back. Exactly where the front and back are. So if I move these to the end of the beams, and then this is going to take a little bit extra time. It will be moving the weight a little bit, but it shouldn't be moving it drastically. Alright, that looks good. I switch it over. And just for looks, if we grab this octagon strut, we can rotate this the right way. Let's snap it to the center. That's what I want to do. Looks about right. We're going to put these on the end of the struts here. I see a few friends that are testing out the new peak. For those that missed it yesterday, we attempted to play Vintage Story and ended up having to play Peak because the server wouldn't let me on for some odd reason. So we played around a little bit. We almost made it to the end of the game. But then we died to lava twice and the map changed. Okay, this is just so that we can put RCS on here. To help us with correcting ourselves if we end up falling over. If I put you there and then move you, does it move the other one the same way? It does, look at that. If I move you out a little bit, this should be using monopropellant only. Let's do the same thing over here. Up a little bit. Not as far as I can go. Okay, will we need monopropellant on the top? Probably not. But I should probably add a little bit. So if I just add it right here, I do want it centered. That should be good. Should we do four-way symmetry around the window? What does that mess with? Probably the goo. Oh, it doesn't mess with the goo at all. Okay, we're gonna do it that way then. Just in case, who knows? Do we need anything else? No. No. We're not communicating this to anything else because we're going to take it out by hand. This is all the power we already did. Heat shields, I don't think we have to worry about heat shields. The wheels we already did. We don't have to worry about aerodynamic stuff. Payload we just also don't have to worry about. Docking points and decouplers we could worry about later. We are going to need this connected somehow to whatever we're using to get it onto Mun. But aside from that, we don't need anything else. Don't need that. We just did RCS. We could probably add a reaction wheel. Just the issue of the parented flat large flywheels to provide more torque. Instead, they promptly dismissed all criticism concerning. That's not telling me what it's gonna do. Would that help us in controlling this when it goes to tip over? Because I have a feeling this is gonna tip over at some point. I think we'll worry about it tipping over at a later point in time. We don't need engines. We have fuel tanks for monopropellant, and we have the command pod. So this is done. So I need to go back. And I forgot to save that as a sub-assembly. Found your phone? Congrats, Gino. Gino. Congrats, Slicky. I'm used to saying congrats to Gino because he, catches Pokemon often. I want to look at our sub-assemblies because we can probably delete a few of these. Moon hopper, we probably don't need. Cat threw it away because she wanted to lay down where it was. Okay. We have that. Yeah, we don't have anything in here that is the Lander or a Lander. So what I'm gonna do is the usual thing where we grab the decoupler and just throw it on here randomly. Except for when it doesn't snap to anything. There we go. We're going to reroute to that decoupler. And then we go into sub-assemblies. We can grab everything away from the decoupler. And Rover, Mark 5. We don't know if it's going to work on Mun yet, because I haven't tested it out, but let's try it anyway. We're going to get rid of that. We're going to go out. We're going to work on our lander. Now we do have something in here called the Mun Rescuer. Is right here. So what is this looking like on the inside? It has the capability of having science container. I think all I want to do is look at this bare bones wise and edit a little bit from it. So if we reroute to that point and then just get rid of everything below here. I should have checked to see what engine it uses. So let's actually take off the decoupler first. This looks like the Terrier. It is the Terrier. So I see why we have this here now. On the other hand, we don't really need that for this to function. If I just move these on away, actually. We have this here, we don't need that there. The RCS thrusters, we're going to move up here, and I think that was four-way symmetry. Let's just put it back where it was. This is a ladder. Let's move you to right here. I'm going to place it down. I know it's on four-way symmetry right now, but I want to see which ladder this is. It is the big one. We don't need the big one. Put this here. Okay, so what it had was landing gears. And this was four-way symmetry for as far as I know. And that goes right where the ladder is. So let's go closer to the RCS. No, not the whole thing. You know what? Put it back. Grab you. I want you... not snapping, maybe. That seems better. Don't like how it's inside. Hello, Sophie. Move this out a little bit. But don't show it. Don't name it. Don't tell Regus. Oh, did you? Oh, look at this. Oh, look at that. That's so cute. That looks awesome. Okay, I think we want to rotate them slightly. I'm gonna rotate this one. I feel like I can see it better. That looks as probably good as I'm gonna get it. And then we want a ladder that is capable of reaching the bottom of this. And I forget where ladders are. Are they in structural? No. Are they in utility? Yes. So if I put this ladder here, not multiplying around it. I'm leaving out again. Bye. Unrelated. What's your favorite fruit? Green apples. Either that or an orange. Extend the ladder. This is not going to be high enough or long enough if we move it down. if I put it there, I'm not sure if we can jump to that. I am going to test it. So let's save this as Mun Lander. Yes, I want to overwrite whatever we had saved. We're going to launch it. The landing gear should still be out. The ladder should also still be out. And all we're going to do here is an EVA and just climb down. Can't see how far down the ladder goes. Oh, it goes a lot further than I thought. So yeah, that reaches all the way down. We can get back in. Actually, can I just reset to VAB? I can. Look at that. Okay, so this is good enough. Now, what this is set up to do is grab the signs and then come back to Kerbin. I want this to be able to connect into the space station. Is what we want an extra connection point to the space station? We might be adding to the space station so that we can have the plane and this connected to the space station on the same wing. I'm going to save this for now. We are going to get rid of this entire thing. What I want is one of the sub-assemblies. Space station orbit rocket, that's not what we want. Space station refueler has just the fuel. But I think this is what I want to be looking at. No, I think I want to look at main body. Get rid of this. So in terms of connecting into... Can't move that now. In terms of connecting onto one of these, we pretty much want one of these fuel things poking out to the side, and then hold on a second. Move that off. Grab another one of them, put it right there. Put this here. I want this off to the side. No, I don't. I want this off to the side. I had it right the first time. This off to the side, this here. I want to move it from this and put that piece here. I can. Doesn't look like I can for some reason. Oh, because it wants to pull it from the bottom. It only wants to be applied there, not from the docking point. Okay, so we're gonna have to build this from the docking point, which is coupling? Yep. That there. I then need one of these, which is, I think, in fuel. No, it's not. Don't think it's this adapter. No, it's probably this big one. That there, this on top of that. So this is just to extend this portion outwards. There's our schedule reminder again, and the YouTube reminder, the information for the commands, and the fourth one for the extravaganza, and it did get updated, so I now know how the announcements work. You do in fact need them spread apart by either 4 seconds or 6 seconds. I take a quick look. It is 4 seconds each. Alright. We are getting closer to what we want this to be. Like what I want underneath this is the singular command pod connected to the decoupler, or to the dock. This goes there because we're going to need someone in here to control this while it's in space. This is heavy. I'm going to leave this little bit of fuel in there, I think, because these are all empty. Or we could send it up with fuel in it. I just don't know how this whole thing is going to connect into the full-fledged space station. So I am going to save this as a subassembly for space station extender. This away. This away. I didn't realize that if I put the subassembly on top of the location here, that it tells me it's going to override it. That's orbit rocket, that's extender, electrical. I'm going to connect all these in. So that we can see how this is going to look. Refueler is at the top, I remember this. On this side was the science wing. There we go. On the bottom is the thruster. Okay, then right here is going to be the extender. So this right now is our entire space station. I want this here just to see what it's going to look like. We could actually get rid of this fuel. Okay, that's going to have to go back on then. This comes off, then this goes back on. And then what we could do is just not have this and not have this, but we could keep it on there for more connection points. So this could be upgraded at some point later down the road. So we're really only going to go and connect this up to it, which means I need to disconnect the plane, take it back down here, put this back up there. Just so I have a way to connect both the plane and the lander. Okay, let's do this. Take this off. I want this to go here. I want to override that as subassembly. And then get rid of everything. Grab the extender again. I want to grab this whole thing and throw it away. I need to see how heavy this is, which is this one. 7.765 tons. Oh, it also doesn't have RCS on it. It has a little bit, but not as much as we want. So we are going to want this up here. About right here, I think. Let's go here. Okay. One last time for moving this. We need a decoupler at the top so that I can remove this, because we need to make this a sub-assembly, or a new route. We go to sub-assemblies and we forget how heavy this is. Why is it on forward symmetry? No, because I am clicking on the wrong part there. So this is 7.83 tons. 7.83 tons. Does not change the description. I know this is including the the decoupler, which is 0.134 tons. That's fine. Space station extender. Yes, I want to override the previous one. Now we can get rid of that. And then what I want is whatever we sent up last. And that's an ad. So we will be right back after this ad. I have no idea why it's not telling me when the ad is starting or ending. I've only noticed because there's a little pop-up on the stream manager for Twitch. OBS won't tell me, and Firebot should be telling me. And it's not, because usually we have the Pokemon noise saying that it's done or that it's just starting. So I think something weird is going on with Firebot on my end. What was the last wing that we added to this? I think it was the refueler, wasn't it? So this would have the most updated rocket if I actually loaded the correct thing, like over here. So we go all the way down to the bottom and we click on Space Station Refueler. You know what I forgot? What did you forget, Slicky? Yeah, this would be the newest, fully upgraded one. So we're going to delete this fairing. And we're going to delete everything that's in here. What is in here? Oh, it's this, so that we can easily connect to stuff and not have Kraken stuff. Okay, so we want to delete all of this. And all of these. Actually, I'm going to keep them where they were, because we're going to reuse them. Oh, you forgot to use the mug. Alright, let me go get it. As you can see now, all the mugs are directly behind me. So you may be able to pick out which mug you want. I think there's 7 up top, and they're all merchandise things. So there's Kebby, Echo, Real Civil Engineer, no, City Planner Plays. There's another guy that made YouTube videos for Pokemon Go. But anyway, you said number 4. I think that may be Echo's mug. I'm not sure. I'll be right back. You left your baby all alone. You had one baby either feeding or just laying against her, and she just got up and walked away from it. So, this mug is not Echo's mug. Echo's mug is actually, I think, number number 6 out of 7. And the 7th one actually is a merchandise mug. I just realized that it's the Whopper mug, number 7. So this one, just like number 3, is another Kebby and Liz mug from Who Knows Yo. And this one is one that I actually did win. So this is the mug that I did know I won from Taco on Kebby's stream. And it says peak gaming performance brought to you by a government subsidized penis. And I'm also going to drink a little bit of soda. No caffeine, it's root beer. And I got the mini cans, because I knew that these would very much fill a mug without being too much soda. To where it would be flat by the time I drink it all. Like a full can. Is this more or less half a cup? I'm waiting for the fizz to go down. It's more of like 2/3 filled compared to being half filled. Or maybe 3/4, who knows. It's 7.5 fluid ounces or 222 milliliters. I forgot to say cheers, but cheers. I'm gonna go see if Mama Cat will let me hold her kitten, and we'll get a little kitten. Mama, where'd your baby go? Okay, chat, we have the kitten again. This is my current favorite one. I don't know if you'll be able to see them if I sit down or if I kneel. Try kneeling first. I'll put them on my shoulder or something. But this is one of the 2 gray ones. They're easily told apart by the fact this one doesn't have very much noticeable stripes on its stomach. It does have stripes, but they're not as prominent as the other one. And also the tip of the tail on this one does not have a white paintbrush-like tip. And they are trying to go somewhere. What if I put you on the table? You go right here? Or are you gonna stay on me? The kitten's getting on the table, I think. You want to go back to mommy? Let's take you back to your mom. I'll be right back, chat. Give you some treats since you let me carry your baby over here. Because I have the camera set up, you guys aren't going to see her eat. But I've been putting them on her plate that I put the wet food on. I'm trying to get her used to eating over there and not where I eat, so she's not begging for my food as much. Okay, now let's get back into this. We are adding on Space Station Extender. The way that it is, so I'm surprised. I think what I am gonna have to do is reroute to this dock. Yeah, because it automatically tries to put us on the dock that is the current route. If I just reroute to this, and then we scroll down a little bit, we place it right there for now. We're gonna need to rotate it, not that way, not that way, like this. Put that right there. And then we just need to connect this into different things. So I'm going to do 4-way symmetry instead of this 8 or 6-way symmetry that it has currently. I just pick that up and we do boop, boop, boop. Connect that directly into that white spot, or black spot, I mean. And then I'm going to grab another set, put it right here, and connect it into this black spot. So that should help with the Kraken effect that this is going to have here, because I don't know if this is structural right there, because they're separated. But anyway, we are going to build the fairing around this now. And it is going to have to go straight out like this. Mama just ran over to the kitten, so I got a little worried. Let's put snapping on. Right there. And then bring you in. But I want to be like this. So it goes to there, then it goes straight in like that. That should be good enough. Now this is going to be a lot of extra force on this, so we're going to have extra fuel to get over there. I'm kind of doing that on purpose because we had some trouble with the plane. And then we are going to save this as Space Station Extendor. We'll call it Extender Rocket. Save this. Okay, now what we need to do is get the plane home with at least 2 people in it, so that when we bring the extender back up there, we still have people here. And what I'm thinking while we're still here is hiring another scientist so that we can keep 2 people on the space station and have a 3rd scientist for going around to the different planets. So what is our best scientist here? We have someone who is a lot of stupidity. I don't actually know what these stats do. I'm gonna assume I want something that doesn't, somebody that doesn't have a lot of stupidity. Like Kerbal's Kerbin would be better than the other scientists. Or do I want this one, because it has a lot of courage and a little bit of stupidity? This one has the most courage and about half stupidity. I think this one's the best. So we'll bring them with us at some point. But now, I gotta go out to the space station. We're gonna take this plane home. This is going to be a little bit difficult because we don't have RCS, so there's nothing that's going to really push us away from the space station, other than moving the space station away from us. Is everyone in here? No, only Jebediah is, so that means everyone should be in this. There's nobody in there. Where is everyone? I know there's the 2 scientists in here. Sandbus and Bill. Or Sandbus and Bob. There's Jebediah by himself. So that means Bill and Valentina are in the plane. They are. Okay. Bill. I want you in here. Jebediah. you are coming home with us. And then Bill, I want you controlling the space station for now. So let's lock this back on normal. It's not that far away, so it doesn't really move as much. And now we are going to save space shuttle pre-entry or re-entry. Oh, we already had one like that. Okay, let's overwrite that current one. What are our save files looking like right now? We can get rid of this now. This isn't done. We can get rid of that one. We have a bunch of quick saves. Let's get rid of all them. We don't need space station without fuel. And this is the current one we're in. So we're going to have these at some point. Actually, we don't need refueler in orbit. We can get rid of that too. The space shuttle in orbit is going to be overwritten at one point. Okay, so we can continue with this and hope that we can get back home. So if I just undock for right now. They are getting pushed away from us very slowly. If I turn SAS back on, put us back on normal, that should help. I want to go to the plane. We want to turn on the lights. And just wait until we're away from the space station so that we can close the doors. It looks like we might end up tapping the space station a little bit. Can I rotate us in a way that would help? Oh, I can. I am surprised. So as soon as this gets past the dock, we should be fine on closing the doors and then reorientating us in retrospect of the orbit direction we're going. That should be pretty soon. I think right about now would be enough. Yep. Okay, and if we use the plane itself to try and find retrograde without locking onto it, because I don't want to hit the space station. Where would retrograde on this ball be? I think that is retrograde above us, so we kind of facing the right direction. We are very close to hitting the space station, so we're gonna have to speed up time a little bit so that we drift away from the space station. That should be good enough to just lock on retrograde without hitting the signs. We're gonna hit the signs. We were a little closer than I thought we were. Okay, that should be good enough. And then I'm going to spin us to hopefully not hit the station. If I just go like this, and then stop us from spinning. We have a lot of fuel. We have as much fuel as we could hold on this shuttle because we put fuel on here, and it pretty much put everything inside the shuttle. So let's just go all the way until our periapsis is in a capture. Full throttle. We are climbing down very quickly. So if I just slow down right here, we are already below 90 kilometers now. Almost 80. So we have way too much fuel in here. speed this up again. 60, 50, 2, 1. That's actually 50. 49, 48, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. That should be good enough for us. I'm going to rotate us away from the planet. And now we are going to speed up until we are within orbit. I do want to check our staging to make sure that everything's correct. We have the engines we're probably not going to use. We have the slow us down parachutes, and then we have the save us parachutes. So let's just fast forward until we get captured. All right, we are now within 100 kilometers. That is orbit. We're going to lock back on retrograde. And then I'm going to rotate us again. Okay, now at this point we probably should start burning some of our fuel down. I think I might wait until we get out of the heat. Or I might want to do it when we're in it. I'm not sure, it's hard for me to figure out. Because I don't want to shoot us down straight away. I think I want to get to the lowest point, which is dropping as we're going in. So maybe if we start overheating, I will use our fuel to slow us down. But for right now, I think we're fine. What I will do is stage us into the next stage, I think. Because we are losing height. Yeah. Alright, we are now staged into these boosters working with us, but because we're so high up, they don't work. And we're about to lose control. We're definitely going to lose control a little bit here. I'm trying to keep us so that we don't go flying in the wrong direction like we are right now. So I am fighting this spin as much as I can. But I can't really stop it from spinning. If I just let it go, what happens to the plane? I am keeping a track of our highest point, because it looks like we're going back up right now. Our highest point is now below orbit. And so is our periapsis. Okay, there is the capture of the atmosphere. We're no longer in orbit. I should be looking at this. Speed compared to surface. It looks like we're going to land on the desert, which is why we have landing gears. Let's take us off retrograde, and we'll just let this slow us down on its own. Our highest point now is where we are, and our lowest point is below the surface. We might actually end up going onto the sea. So if I lock on here and I do full throttle at the correct time, right here, will this help us stop slowing down or stop spinning? Looking like it is. I'm just killing our speed as much as I can. Then I might try to spin us around prograde. And maybe we can try flying this a little bit. We actually might not have a lot of fuel left over to fly this. That's okay. We'll use as much of this fuel as we can to slow us down. That was all the fuel we had in these thrusters. So right now I am going to try and keep us like this. You know what? Can I go on prograde? No, it looks like I'm stuck going retrograde. Or just losing control. We're kind of just going to keep losing control. Okay. Can I at least stop myself from spinning? Definitely does look like... Oh, there goes the slow us down parachutes. So we should be taking a nosedive pretty soon, once they fully deploy. Oh, there goes the other engines. Hold on. Oh, that just cut the parachutes. That's not what I wanted to do. I was just trying to shut the engines off. You know what? Maybe that'll help us. If I can get them to help us focus on prograde, I can maybe pull it up. Nope, I don't think this is helping us, actually. No, I didn't mean to press 1. Alright, stop locking on prograde. Unless this is working. It was for a second, now it's not. This is at least slowing us down a little bit. Slowing our descent, I mean. I think we're too heavy for these rocket engines to actually push us up. I should have the parachutes helping us in a few moments. I didn't have them deployed. I thought I already pressed the button, but that's okay. We are now deployed. I'm gonna speed us up until we get to the bottom. And luckily we're landing on ground, although we are facing the mountain. I'm not spinning us, but this is gonna help us, I think. Especially if I can rotate us like that. And there we go, we have touchdown. Recover vessel. We have Valentina, we have Jebediah, nobody died, nothing exploded, and it looked like the plane didn't break at all. Okay. So now, the next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna grab our space station extender. We're gonna make sure that it has pilot. It has Jebediah. We're gonna take this all the way up, and we're gonna try to connect in as best as we can. Now, something I just realized is that there is no propellant on this at all. So I actually want to take this off for a moment. Put this on here and put this back. It does hit the top of the fairing, so we're gonna have to edit this a little bit. Let's go back a stage and then here and here. Save that. We almost sent this up with no propellant at all. Let's launch this. See if it's facing the right direction. And I also have to check the boosters to see if they're solid fuel or not. They are solid fuel, so we definitely have too much fuel. There's a Kabutops in chat. That's a relatively rare thing to see in chat. I don't think I have that. I don't even think I've seen it before. This is a evolved fossil Pokemon. So let's see if I can catch it. See, I can hear Firebot working with the Pokemon noises, but I didn't hear it at all with the ads, and it also would have said that there's an ad break in chat. So I don't know what's going on with that specifically. I think I may have accidentally turned it off somehow. Who knows? Anyway, we are going to go back to the VAB. Now that I know this is facing the right way, and that we have too much thrust, we are going to take off these, I think. Yeah, those. Save that and start again. See if we're still facing the right direction. We are. Okay, let's take this up then. RSCS. Full throttle. Check our height. Start. Oh, and it starts with fuel taken out of it. Okay. That's not too bad. We are a little wobbly, meaning that I'm somewhat losing control of the rocket. So I'm going to do small micromanagement turns here, because I know once the thrusters get taken off, we'll be fine. We are where I want to be at the correct height. I'm just going to keep going. Our heading isn't too far off from 90 degrees, so I'm not too upset with what's going on. Okay, if we can stay here and minimize the wobbling. There goes the thruster, so now we won't wobble at all. Unless the wobbling is the Kraken effect from how I said earlier we weren't really connected in. So we may be bouncing around inside the fairing, I'm not sure. But anyway, we're above 50 kilometers at our max height already. We've also somewhat stabilized in terms of what's going on with the wobbling. That's 72, 3, 4, 5 kilometers, almost 76. Let's put us in orbit. That's not enough change. There we go. 75 and 132? No. 74, 77, that's better. And we're already pretty close to the maneuver, so we might be able to make it there before we have to start burning again. If not, we should be fine. And it actually does seem like we're making it all the way there. Look at that, we made it to the maneuver node before we have to start burning. This is about a minute burn at full throttle. I forget what number our lowest point was going to be at that point, but I think it was like 73 kilometers high. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, full throttle. And I'm not paying attention to how quickly we're rising, where the blue line is going to the dotted yellow line or orange. I'm just focused on the bottom left corner where it says periapsis and the number falling, or I guess in this case, rising. We are now almost above negative 400. Now we are above negative 400. And we are now above negative 300. And at this point, we should be climbing up a lot quicker than earlier. That's negative 200. Negative 100. I'm going to start throttling down because we're about to be in the positive numbers. We are now in the positive numbers. I'm just slowing us down to make sure that I don't overshoot our highest point or lowest point. We are now at a lowest point of 60 kilometers. Now 71, 2, 3. 73, 79, the difference between 6 kilometers. I'm okay with that. So, next thing we're going to do, figure out how to land with this. Babylon 3.5. So when the plane is not connected to it, the space station does have the correct icon and the correct name. So Regus, if you are here, even though you are streaming, we do have your space station. Regus was the one that used the channel points to name the space station, which is something I probably should have been telling you guys to do a lot earlier. So, if anyone here would like to put any channel points into naming the satellites here around Kerbin, the satellite ring, what would you name the satellite network? Because then it's going to be, like, if we call this communications, it would be communications 1, communication, oh, actually, one's right here. Communication 1, communication 2, communication 3. So you're naming the default name for all these, and then they're going to have 1, 2, and 3 next to it. I did name them just for the planet that are around, but if we're going to use the names for other things, we may as well name these. So it's up to you guys. First person to do the name redeem gets to name it. Space station right here. That is target. Let's change our inclines. If I go over here, we have quite a large difference in our incline today. I'm going to put the node here. And we pretty much need to go normal, I think. Anyway, if we go to maneuver, we do a bunch of normal. No, we actually want to go anti-normal, sorry. Anti-normal, that'll bring us down. It does mess with our apoapsis, that's fine. As long as our periapsis, well, as long as both peri and apoapsis do not go below 70. So that's an ascending node of 0 degrees. We're going to try that for sure. That should be pretty much exactly on anti-normal, which it is. So I'm actually going to put us on the maneuver, which is still in the same direction. Once we get there, we're going to fly over to it. And then our ascending node has now moved to over here. So let's fast forward to within 1 minute. Make sure we're locked onto that maneuver. And fast forward to within 10 seconds. This is a 6-second full throttle burn. We are going to try to do it full throttle as much as we can. As long as we are within 0.3 degrees, I'm fine with it being off. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stop. That is pretty darn perfect. Oh, it was. Okay. It is 0.1. I'm fine with a 0.1 difference. Okay, so now we just need to figure out how we're going to meet up with the space station, as it is going counterclockwise, just like we are. I think we want to add the maneuver right here. And then a bunch of prograde until we get our highest point, 780 kilometers high. 99, 98. Well, a little too far down. That's 782. We'll keep it like that. So when we get to here, space station will be way over here. We want to actually go in front of us. It's right about there. What is the difference between the two of these? 6.8 kilometers. If I turn this down and we keep going this way, we get closer in that distance. Let's keep going. Oh, now we're going back up. The 1.6. Can I go a little bit retrograde and it gets closer? Nope, it's getting further. What about radially in either direction? Okay, that's not going anywhere. What about anti-normal? Doesn't seem to change. So the only two things that are changing the distance is retrograde and prograde. That's 2.7. Okay, so we're going to keep it at a little bit less than 2 kilometers. We're going to lock us on the maneuver, and then we're going to do a hard save of extender in orbit. Did we break off the... We did. We had to have broken off the boosters. Okay, we're on the maneuver. Let's just do our hard save. In case we mess up, and let's fast forward to within that minute, and then again within 10 seconds, and then we're just going to take off. What we could do right now is break off the fairing, which is with the coupler. We don't actually want it like that. That is better. Alright, back to this, because I want to be watching our apoapses. Apoapses. I don't know which way to correctly say apoapsis in plural. That's 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Full throttle for right now. Okay, we want a highest point of 781. We're at 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 81. We're about 500 meters away from where we wanted to be, but that shouldn't be too far apart right here. 2.9 kilometers isn't the closest we've ever been, but it's also a decent spot away for us to slow down and catch up to. So what we're going to do now is put us in respect to the target. There's retrograde. Then we're going to fast forward to over here. So for a while it should be... Wait. I think if we stayed prograde... we would end up being retrograde later on. Because we're almost on the other side of the globe right now. So right now we're facing this way. By the time we get over here, we're facing almost the opposite direction, so that would be retrograde at that point. We'll be a little bit off, but that should be fine. Alright, we're almost on the maneuver. So if I take you off of the maneuver for right now, we just fast forward to right here, we should see those icons switch. I was actually wrong. Wow. Seemed prograde went with us. Let's take some time while we're here and a decent amount of space away to switch us over, because apparently I was wrong. They are right now 40 kilometers away from us, so we have quite a bit of time to get over here. And all we're going to do with this thruster is burn our speed compared to the target to get us into a similar orbit. So if we just fast forward a little bit, and I stop right about here, we'll go into this mode because I want to be able to see where it is. There it is. Let's burn our fuel right now. I'll let it get closer, and then we'll do it again. Remember, we're burning retrograde in respect to the target's orbit. And we're honestly still going pretty fast, and we're actually speeding up right now. So we must be, in terms of our orbit, going back into the planet's gravity field. Alright, it's starting to speed past us now. So if we just stay here and watch as it gets closer to us, we should be able to get closer than what it said before. Although the distance is starting to slow down. That's 3.7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Retrograde shouldn't be moving too much. It is still going down. Alright, now we should be able to cut more of our speed and really bring us down. So I'm waiting to see if it gets even closer. At some point the numbers are going to go back up, and I think that point is actually right now. Because going from 2.2 to 2.1, and then from 2.1 to 2 kilometers, it seemed to slow down the change a lot more. So I'm going to just do a quick short burst to right here. We are at 0.1 meters, and I don't know if we're going away from it or to it because both retrograde and prograde disappeared. But that's where we're going to leave this for right now. I'm going to turn on lights, break us off. That should mean that this is now disconnected. So I want to go back to this. No. Yes. And this should have a reaction wheel so I can spin this around. It does, and it is spinning. So I want you, in terms of orbit, to go retrograde. Oh, we spun that around too. Okay. That's not too bad. I can actually go to this and tell it to be pointed to the target we don't have set up anymore. So we'll get this pointed at the target, and then we're going to go back to this because it apparently stopped rotating because I wasn't focused on it. We can see prograde is a little off from it, so we're not really going towards it anymore. But we should be relatively close to it enough. Right, I am going to stop RCS right there. No, I am not. I'm going to use the keys to get us onto the maneuver because RCS seemed to have used a little too much propellant to get over here. Let's get prograde there for a moment. If I go to this now... I want orbit. Let's keep turning this around. And the noise we're hearing as RCS should be this going up that way. Alright, we are now here, full throttle. This is just going to take us all the way back into the planet. At some point this is going to flip around and then we stop getting thrust. Okay, so if I click on you and we switch to you, we will now be using RCS to get to the rest of the way to the space station now. Okay. That's not what I want. What I want is docking mode. And I want to control from here, even though it's pretty darn close to what we're controlling from. I might as well have it set up controlled from there to begin with. And I just need to speed us up, which is this way. And at some point we should see that prograde stops moving around. Because we'll be going fast enough that it won't change as much. Should probably look at our electrical charge, which is out completely, so we don't have any lights. We do have a ton of monopropellant. Okay, we're at 3 meters per second. Let's fast forward now. We can see that prograde is moving slightly. That's fine, let's just speed up quite a bit. Slow down and pull prograde over. We should also be on the maneuver. Or target, I mean. Let's actually not do that. Where are we going? Let's get you over here. Okay, now that I'm on the dot, I should be able to use RCS to keep us on there, and it shouldn't mess us up as much. So, if we just get retrograde back over here, or prograde, I mean, we're gonna speed up time again. Should probably have docking mode opened again, now that we know we're locked onto the marker. And luckily, we are coming in to the space station as we're going onto the light side of the planet. As long as I keep prograde in the direction we're heading, we should be fine. Alright, once we get below 200 meters, like right now, I am going to slow us down quite a bit. At some point, this is going to let me set that as target. Look at that. So I am attempting to slow down quite a bit. We're also going to have an ad break in a few seconds. Okay, now we are at 0.1 meters per second. When we come back from the ad break, we're going to finish this up. Good job, Siribot. Let's fast forward a little bit, because we are still quite far away. It looks like prograde is now away from us. Let's just get back to this. Fast forward a little bit more. Trying my hardest to get there before the break starts. Okay, it's starting to go away from us. We just start going faster. We do get prograde back. And we are now in ads. So I will see you guys in 3 minutes. And we're back. Okay. And right as I start, there is an executor in chat. So let's see if I have that. I didn't think I did because that's an evolved Pokemon. Alright, let's resume flight. We now have prograde back because I sped up a little bit. So it seems like if we're not doing the correct speed, prograde marker kind of just disappears. So we have to find that sweet spot in the speed where prograde marker stays visible. But anyway, we are going to speed up as we get closer. And then we should be able to change prograde back to where it needs to be. So I'm going to wait until we're about at 40 kilometers. I think that's a good correction point. Bring us back onto the marker and then to bring prograde down there. close enough. I can bring Prograde over here while we're still trying to figure out where we're going. And if I just give us a little bit of speed. Looks like I caught it, and Gino was just a few seconds too slow. It's okay, Gino, it happens. Okay, what I think we want to do... Welcome back from lurking, by the way. What I think I want to do is put Prograde to the right so that we are still going sideways compared to this. I do think I also need to go up as we're doing this. Because that should mean that we are raising this as we're going to it. Welcome in, first-time chatter, Prime Zero Edits. Do you play with any mods? I do not. I am relatively new to the game. We've been playing for 23 streams so far, but this is my first time playing within those 23 streams. So I do not have any mods. This is pure vanilla space station, which is why it may seem odd compared to stations you see on YouTube. Although I did take some inspiration from those on YouTube. I think we're heading the right way. I think I want to go a little bit more completely up compared to going to the right now. Or are we heading downwards? I think I might be heading the wrong way. I think I want Prograde to be up. For us to go up. Yeah, that's bringing the station down. So I actually want to be somewhere over here with Prograde. I'm just letting this try. I'm trying to get it so that we're going straight into it, because we haven't actually had that before. I don't think, aside from maybe the thruster here, we had a straight, direct line into the station. So I'm trying to get that to happen now. I'm just not too optimistic that we're going to be able to make it. Regardless, we should still be going to it. Which we are. All I'm trying to do is correct for us wobbling back and forth before we actually connect in. Okay, I think I want to go a lot more out than we currently are. Can I rotate us to be looking the correct way? As we get closer... What we're adding here is an extension piece so that we just have more places to dock to. It wasn't really meant to do anything aside from give us more docking points. And that... I don't like it being off like that. We want to control from here. We want to make sure that this is on normal. So I might actually disconnect and rotate us just a little bit, and then try to connect us back in. If I just click here, and we Why don't we have disconnect? I click on the wrong part? Okay, so before, every time I wanted to undock something, I had to undock from the part that's connected to the space station main body. But now all of a sudden it's to this. So I don't know what's different between these two pieces. But anyway, we are going to try to straighten this out. I want that still set as target. But I want us rotated. Can I stay rotated the way I want to be instead of going back and forth? There we go. Alright, now I just need to go forward. And then we should just dock right into it. We are getting closer now. I can see that the number is changing. We're just doing this weird thing where we're going back and forth, I guess. Are we close to it? I can't even tell. Why isn't it connecting? Are we unable to dock once we undock? That seems to be what's happening here. I can't re-dock. Ah. That's obviously not good. I don't know how to redock then. Maybe if I switch to this, there's a thing that I have to press on this side. A primary docking node, maybe? No, that would have made us connect at this point. Or enable staging, maybe? I don't think it'd be disable. Maybe it's auto strat? No. Save interaction, invert direction. We enabled port staging. And that's enabled here. Are we just unable to connect if we disconnect from it? Is that what I'm getting from this? What we could do is just rotate us. We click control from here and then get us right on here. Maybe if we try and go from this direction, it'll help. Because it's a different docking port. We're the shot, or else we're gonna have to reload from before we even got here. Where are we going? No, really, where are we going? What is going on here? I'm trying to go up. Why is it going the opposite direction? Where are we going? I think we're gonna have to reload because this isn't really working out. I don't want to save now. We were extender in orbit. So let's set this up the correct way. We want to add this bearing there. Stage. We're already connected on the node. So we just have to do the burn again. And then get all the way up there. Let's fast forward all the way up to the 10-second mark, per usual. Let's get these open. Alright, that's 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Full throttle for now. Bring that all the way down. We're going for 781 again. $720, 30, that's too slow. 40, 50, 60, 70, 81. We're again within 600 meters. So this shouldn't be too different. That is a lot different. That is 27 kilometers different. Put a maneuver here and try to fix this, because that is too much different. Is it radial that's going to help us? A little bit, yes, actually. Separation of 2.1 kilometers, that's pretty good. Let's get us onto the maneuver and then we'll go back over to this. the 0.4 second burn, so I'm going to do a quick jolt of thrust. I'm not going to really hold it for a few seconds. Ah, bad luck, Gino, you didn't catch it. Alright, we are pretty much on the maneuver now. So, fast forward per usual. And then the next usual, 10 seconds. There we go. And quick burst. That should be closer than the first time we did this. 2 kilometers of separation, awesome. I want to go in terms of target retrograde, which is right here. So it's not going to take us too long to lock onto it for the moment. And then I'm going to warp all the way over to here. We should stay near retrograde, just not directly on it. And it looks like for the most part, it is going against the target. Which I think is funny that we're burning fuel away from what we're trying to get to, just so that we get the same orbit as the thing we're trying to get to. Alright, let's go to here. And at this point, I'm going to go to this mode, because we can see where they are. I want this on the screen at all times, but it's not staying there. If we just get... Last time we went to 40 and then burned a lot of fuel and got stuck at the 20s, so I'm going to... right there. And let's burn some of our fuel away. Or speed, I mean. Fast forward again until we get closer. And again. Seven, 6, 5, 4 kilometers. While we are stopping here, it should still be getting closer to us. Just waiting to see it get to 2 kilometers, and then we'll burn the rest of our fuel out. Okay, now we're going 1 meter per second prograde compared to the target. I am going to stage this apart. We are going to turn RCS on. We're going to go back out to here and set this as the target. No, not that. Not that. Give me the station. Set as target. We're going to lock onto it, which may make us hit the rocket here, but that's fine. Okay, RCS is not really helping here. Or SAS, I mean. Where is it taking us? Keeps bobbing back and forth. Why turn SAS off? Nope, we definitely need that on. Alright, I'm gonna let it go back to doing its own locking onto maneuver thing here. And let's go to this. Switch this to surface, or no, to orbit. Retrograde. And we could, honestly, burn the fuel to get over to it. There goes the station. And we're about to get that weird thing. There we go. I want to switch here. Welcome in, Regis, party of 3, and Sophie's back. Hello, everyone. For some reason, Firebot is not really working. So, let me pause for a second here. Firebot's not really doing the noises. Usually we would hear Cynthia's theme song from Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, and I would be telling you, hello, my name is Coded. On this channel we play selection video games. On Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday we play Stone to Space, which is a story game of all the games I have in a certain order. That's kind of like Mankind's progression. Right now we're in a space travel, so we're starting to get away from modern city day builders. And right now we are in the middle of adding an extension to our space station because we found out that I forgot to have 6 ports. I only put 5 ports. So I built this little thing here, which adds an additional 5 ports. So we now have 3 extra once we start using these. But I need a spot to put a lander on and a plane on, and we only had a spot for one of those 2 things. So that's what we're in the middle of doing. We had gotten this already to the space station connected, but I didn't like how it was orientated, so it was twisted compared to the station. So if I had my hand here as the station, we kind of had the ports turned on its side, and I wanted them to be aligned. So I tried undocking them and connecting them back in, but it didn't want to connect back in. So we just reset the save to before we even connected in. Only 5 ports, how embarrassing. Wow, Regis. Good news, we stopped the nukes. What? What nukes? Why do I forget what game you're playing and I was in your channel? I'm really spacing out on what it was. Willow made a joke saying that this isn't No Man's Sky. Metal Gear. That's why did I forget what it was? It only has nukes? You heard Unicron, that's all that matters. That's true. But for some reason my events are not working. I think that's what I have to specifically fix. The custom events for walk-ons, like Regis and Sophie have 2 walk-ons. I think Willow also has one, but I'm not sure if I set up one for Willow. Either way, that's not what I want. We are going to now connect this into the only remaining port on Babylon 3.5, which, for those who don't know, Regis redeemed channel points to name Babylon 3.5, that name. If we go to docking mode, we are now going to find out where prograde is and why it is not on here. So as I'm speeding up, we should see prograde come shooting over. There it is. And prograde is the direction that we are heading. So I can now use other keys to help speed that up, getting closer to the pink icon, which is the target. We are trying to get those 2 icons to line up as I get to 3 meters per second. And then the rest of this is pretty much just speeding up the time of the game. There we go. and then occasionally adjusting those two icons to be overlapping each other. So right about here, we're going to readjust. Our craft is going to readjust to being on the maneuver, or onto the target maneuver. And then we will move retrograde, or prograde, which we could actually do while it's trying to fix this. So over here, we are the orange icon. And it doesn't matter if the orange icon is locked on it, it matters if the yellow icon is locked on the pink one. There we go. This should mean that we are aiming directly at the craft. I do want to make sure, yet again, even though I think I already did, that we are controlling from this piece, so that it's this aiming for that, not any other part. And we're just going to fast forward again. So this yellow box with the numbers is what we're aiming for. We are now within 500 meters of the space station. Let's just get prograde back to where it needs to be. We could probably start slowing down, but I think what I really want to prioritize right now is making sure we're heading to the station. And if I get over here, if I aim camera to this, I right click on that, aim camera to that, we should be able to see, there we are. We can see where we are. When I get closer than 150 meters, I will be able to reset this dock to being our target. Right now, our craft is targeting the command module, because that is the main brains of the space station, and I want it to target where we are going to connect into. As you can see, this is the only remaining dock point of the station, and we have to add 2 spacecrafts to this, so obviously the math isn't going to work out. So this is going to leave us upgrade spots later on if we want to add an additional electrical thing to it, or another science thing we can now. Maybe another thruster to make us go faster, quicker. Anyway, I don't want to speed up time because we're relatively close already. And we can now set this as a target. That is a minor adjustment there. And if I reset camera, we go back to this. So what I want to do from here is mess around with where prograde is. And first I want to slow us down, because we're coming in a little too hot for my adjustments to be precise. So I'm going to try to get us below a meter per second. And as we do this, prograde is going to move quicker in the directions it's trying to go to. Also, because I forgot to say this earlier, feel free for anyone that came in Rodriguez to lurk. You are not held here against your will. And there is an Oddish in chat. Let me see if I have that Pokemon. Do I have it? I do not have it. Wow. For a Pokemon that is not rare in the games, I don't have it. Let's see if I can get it now. Alright, so we are going to go to the right. As you can see, prograde is now on the right side of the pink marker, so we should be going this way. So the space station should be going to our left if we're lucky. And I also want to go up, so I should... That's speeding up, that's not what I meant to do. I should have prograde about here as we're going up. And prograde disappeared, so I need to speed us up a little bit, and then we get the icon back. There is a certain speed we have to go in order to see the icon. So I know occasionally I have to give us a little bit more speed. Okay. A little bit more speed. We are not really climbing as fast as I'd like to, so let's go like this. Speed us up. I think it is not putting us where we want to be, when before it did. So I think I actually want to be on the bottom. So we should see that the space station is coming downwards on the screen now. Which it is. Awesome. Alright, let's get back onto the node. I'm going to bring prograde closer. I'm going to speed up a little bit so we get the icon back. So if I put us over here, base station should be going to the left, but I think it might be going to the right at this point. It is. Okay, I have my directions backwards. So we are using prograde as where we want the space station. So if I want the space station to go to the bottom left of the screen, that's where prograde has to go. Alright, I'm gonna attempt to line it up horizontally first. But honestly, I think we're lining up pretty darn close to exact on. Let's get locked back on how we want to be. Bring prograde back. We're going to need a little bit with speed. I now don't see prograde anywhere. There we go. I do want to go down a little bit more. That should be enough down. Okay, so now let's just go left. Alright, we're going to stop there. We're going to bring this over. Occasionally giving us a burst of fuel so that we can get that prograde marker back on here. And then I need to rotate us ever so slightly for aesthetic. This is what I was telling you guys about before, when you first rated in, that I was slightly rotated. And I didn't like that. I'm gonna push us a little bit to the right, because we're not really coming in straight yet. So as we get closer, we should be seeing that the box is going to the circle center of our station. And I know at roughly 9 meters away is where we connect. I think I want the station to go down a little bit. If I rotate us, we should be going straight into it. If I just get us rotated a little bit as we come in, we should be more or less perfectly aligned. You know, that is slightly askew, but it is a lot more perfect than the last time. The last time was a lot more noticeable. This is just a slight skew. And I am pretty darn happy with that. So, what we're going to do, we're going to bring Jebediah out of here now. Somewhere over here is transfer queue. There it is. Jebediah is going to go into here for a moment. Then we are going to grab Bill out of here. Put them in there. Bill is our engineer. And Jebediah is our main piloter. We have 3 now. We just hired another one. Let's put this back on normal. So we now have a port. We can add 5 more things, not 4. So we're going to have a plane on here somewhere. We could have the Land Rover as a 3rd vehicle, or we could attach it as part of the Lander vehicle, which is what we initially planned on. We have enough ports for all 3 of those vehicles if we ever wanted to separate them, but we also have another port that we could put a 2nd rocket or another science wing to do the orbital science twice as fast, or we could have more electrical generation. Not sure what we need. We also have some fuel that we could add more to, or a dock that we could add more fuel to. But either way, Jebediah is now up here. Let's go back to the Space Center, do a hard save. We're going to call this hard save Space Station with Extender. With Extender. And then we are going to work on the next rocket with the lander and the probe. Not the probe, the Land Rover. So first thing I'm going to load in is Mun Lander Mark 5. Did we not save it here? I see Mun 1 and 2. That was just a satellite getting over there, I think. Chat, I don't think we saved it unless it's this. That does look correct, so I think it was this. If we take out our sub-assembly of our Land Rover Mark 5, it is relatively big compared to this lander. So the question is, how are we going to attach this? We could have this connect to the top in some way, put another thruster underneath this that's capable of slowing down both of these. Then after this does land, having wheels, we could then disconnect this, use a little bit of thrust to separate them, and then land the rest. I think that is probably our best option. So our next thing to do is to figure out how that's going to all work. I want to have these start retracted. The same thing with the ladder. I can click on the ladder. There we go. This has a little science thing on there for us to collect all of the science that this is going to get. We could also collect all the science in the crew pod if we wanted to not have a box, but I like having the box. So let's go back in here. Coupling. Grab this, put that right on there. And then how do I want this to connect down here? I think I want one of these platforms in the center of this. Just like that. And then... then I'm not sure. What if we have it rotated? Because that would make this connect a lot easier. What we actually want is a different type of bearing. We don't want that decoupler, I mean. We want this one that will separate from both bodies and not just the one at the top. Can I have this connect in, please? There we go. Oh, actually, we don't need that if my new plane works. If we grab this and rotate it the correct way. Put that right there. So now this is going straight up. And then what I'm hoping I'm going to be able to do is flip this over. What we could do is add a reaction wheel to help this. So if we go to command and control, we grab a little reaction wheel and slap that right on there. That will help us rotate this better. And then we won't need this. We are going to need another decoupler. And this one should be a little bit smaller, and this should be decoupling from one spot compared to this one, which decouples from both. That is pretty much right in the beam. That's not where I want it. And that's not very centered. I think I'm going to need a beam right in the center of this so that it lines up with stuff up here. If I just grab this and we figure out how to place this on correctly. No. Yes, but the other way. And then we grab the move tool. No snapping. What would count as the center is the question. I can line up the center with this very easily because this is the center line. But then coming this way, I don't know what's centered. I think it's more to the right. No, this should be centered. Alright, let's see if that will allow me to put this on it. Oh, it doesn't. It has to be on the end of the beam. That's unfortunate. Alright, we'll just have to try a different way then. This is how I do want it. Try this again. Bring this up. It won't go up high enough. Okay. And you're gonna have to go right there for a moment. And this way. This way. That should miss this. And then this should be able to go right there. Which may seem odd. And by may seem, I mean it does seem odd, so I'm actually going to push this in more. And then I'm just gonna grab another one of that fuel. We might actually want double the fuel that we have on that, so I'm gonna grab this bigger one. Not that one. Or is it this one? It is actually that size. Okay. Put that on the decoupler. Then we're gonna have to bring the beam back out. Okay, they are no longer touching. Hello, okay, Clips. Welcome back. Let's grab this onto here. Grab another one. Onto here. This is for structural support as it's coming down. Put this here. And then the last one's going to go on the platform right here. This is to help with cracking effects. If there are not enough things connected together, the craft will bend and make it harder to control. We may not be able to get back into that door if I leave this reaction wheel here. So I'm actually going to put this on the bottom. Once I figure out how to get it on the bottom. There we go. That's good enough. So right now I'm just gonna go around and make sure these are connected in a way that won't bend. We're gonna have to do the same here. To the bottom of this. That went straight to the decoupler. Guess I can't go through the decoupler? That should be able to physically go through it. No, I can't go through the decoupler. That's not too horrible. Oh, didn't mean to pick up the whole thing. So if I just go around on the 4 points where there are triangles. We again have our messages going through. When am I going to play Peak again? Not for quite a while. We're going back to our usual schedule, as you can see in the messages. That's there, and one more over here, a little bit to the left. Keep on watching the video of you playing Peak, cool and funny. Thank you. I appreciate the compliment. Why is there a storage container in there? Oh, because it was on two-way symmetry, I guess. It's not where it was supposed to be. What's up? I'm going to bring it to the beam. Even though we probably won't need to use it. Okay. I'm gonna do 2 more structural points just in case we need them between the wheels. And yes, I do know I could have did the mirror or symmetry mode to make this a little bit quicker. Okay, yeah, that little decoupler should be fine. We have the struts there to help us anyway. What we want next is another Terrier rocket. So I just want that, but it's not going to give me just that. It gives me everything connected to the engine. I put that on, then I'm going to grab all of this and take it all off. That should be enough. Actually, this it's 360. Is this the twice as large one? It is. It just looks small. I don't know if this is enough weight to slow us down as we descend against Mun. Okay, I think we're gonna ignore that for a moment and take the parachute off. We're gonna make this able to dock into our space station by going into something up here. I forget which one it is. Payload. Superchan docking port. I want to place this on top of the storage if I can. And then, just in case, Kraken effects. To find a way that this can attach. So I want to do snapping, or asymmetry. I just want to go on the docking port, make sure that it doesn't fly off. We should be able to transfer between these two. What I don't think we have enough of is RCS up here at the top. If I just grab them and fling them here, that should help us overall. We should still be able to get out. And I think I'm actually going to change this up a little bit. So let's get a bigger fairing, or decoupler. It's gonna require us to bring this down a little bit more. And did this just go on in 4-way symmetry? Anyway, we're going to grab a fairing. I think I'm only going to need a 2.5 one. Just need to be out far enough that I can see what I'm doing. I bring it out to here, I hope. Then if I go straight up, it should be out far enough. It is not. That is as far out as I can make this go. Okay, the wheels are not being touched at all. That's good. We're gonna keep it going up. And to right here, and then in. Like that. We could actually make this skinnier. And we're in an ad. So I will be back in just a little bit, and we'll continue on making this rocket. And we are back. What are you doing? Mama's behind me on the floor. If we go back in the game, we are going to actually not change this at all. We took off this. We want that actually back on. I should be looking at the staging, but we'll do that later. This is to get us onto Mun. We're going to need a landing gear to stop us from crashing or from falling over once we land. I'll do 4 just for stability. We're probably going to want some sort of wings for out here. And also lighting so I can see where I'm falling. That would be utility? Yep. Grab some of them, add them in here, then go into them. Rotate them inwards. That may be a little too far inwards. One more tick out. That should be angled out far enough. I do think I need them pulled down more. They look like they're in the rocket. Like the light's going to be obscured. There we go, that's better. Okay, so if everything here works, this is completed. I don't know how 2 fairings are going to work on this, because now I have to add a secondary fairing going from the bottom of this to the first one. And I know sometimes you can have a fairing connect to something, so I am actually going to delete this and build a new one. So come out to the very edge. Go straight up. It goes in a little bit regardless. Okay. So maybe I don't want to be out this far. I want to be to right here and then go straight up. Nope, it still does a little bulge anyway. Straight up then. And I think we stopped here, but I'm going to go a tiny bit more and then go straight in. Everything should be still fine. It's pretty much the same thing as before. Okay, start retracted. Something we didn't put is lights on this. So let's grab some lights and add them on in here. I think we want big lights. And what I want to do is add 4 of them on here, if possible. They're rotated the right way. That strut is going to be a problem for me, but we're going to focus on this first. Them rotated. It's facing downwards. Already facing down. That is. And that should also face the science there. The rest we probably don't need. We no longer have lights on these. So let's grab some lights for that. Hello. There we go. We actually want the smaller lights. Is what this is. And then I think everything here is 3-way symmetry. Nope, it's definitely 4. We just might have to move it compared to where a wing is. Why is it on that mode? There we go. That is on the ladder. Alright, let's do 3-way. And this also still does not line up very well. A little bit to the right. That puts it in that. So the one that does not work well is this one here. So I think instead of doing symmetry, I'm just going to place them in one at a time. Let's do with snapping as much as I can. I'll put one right here. Bring them down. Rotate them slightly. Bring this one down. Rotate this one slightly. Bring this one down. Rotate this one slightly. That should be enough lights. And this shouldn't need electrical charging because it's only for leaving the planet and landing on it, which we're landing on it with the rover. So we should be good to go with the rest of this stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this entire thing. We're going to place it again right here. And then we're going to take this off and just throw it away. I did notice that this rocket has the struts. And I really want to take them off. I just place it there for now. Take all these off. Place this back on. Okay, now we get to test what happens when you have a fairing below a fairing. Does it allow you to connect the two fairings together? I go out as far as I can and just go straight up. It actually does work that way. Look at that. That's cool. I'm gonna hope that this is capable of slowing us down. Now, we're not gonna be able to test this today because we are actually at the end of our stream. We've gone past it a little bit. So for right now, this is going to be called the Mun Lander. No. Mun to Space Station, I guess? Or Mun Science Collection to Space Station. A mouthful, but I think that's the most descriptive I can get to it. And we are now going to find someone to raid out to. So let's go out here. We're going to do a hard save. This is just going to be called episode 23. Because there's nothing else for us to progress to there. And we should actually take a screenshot of this as our screenshot. So if I just go to these and we delete both fairings, this is what's going to be our screenshot. I have that ready. Let's see who is live. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to catch me live, I stream on Twitch on Wednesdays and Fridays from 10 AM EST to 12:30 PM EST, and on Sundays from 10 AM EST to 2 PM EST.